All right, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at Starter Deck 22 Ace Newgate. When he first came out, I was really excited to play with this guy because I've always been a fan of Marcos. I'm a big white beard stan, and he's got a pretty interesting leader ability. It's not OP, it's nothing crazy, but it's pretty fun and it is pretty useful where it says, activate main, once per turn, you may reveal one card with a type including Whitebeard Pirates from your hand. Draw one card and the revealed card, add the revealed card to the top of your deck. So what it is that you have something in your hand, like say Marco, and you reveal it, and then say if you have 5 Don, you can go ahead and play Porcus D Ace, and you play Marcos out for free. So for 5 Don, you're spending 9 Don, which is pretty good. And the thing about this deck is all about consistency, because looking at this leader ability, it screams Sanji. You should use Sanji. Play Sanji. Sanji will get another 9k body, but for consistency's sake, it's not worth it. It's actually a lot better, in my opinion, to simply go ahead and always have a Whitebeard card on the top of your deck. So I only run 2 Gravity Blades. So if I really need to use the 1-for-4 counter, I can go ahead and put some brick on the top of my deck, and then I can safely use the 1-for-4 counter, which is reveal the top card of your deck. If that card has Whitebeard Pirates in its name, give up to one of your leader characters plus 4k power. It's actually really powerful. Other than Radical Beam that's getting rotated out and the new Law counter, there's not many 1-for-4s, and the ones I just named were both red. This one is blue. This is very good. In my opinion, I think what's also even more consistent is 2 Phoenix Brand instead of 2 Gravity Blades. And I think I will move to that just because Gravity Blade is very expensive, 7 Don, and sometimes you don't always have 2 targets. But, you know, the setup is pretty simple for the most part. So we've got Izo. The blue Izo is a very good searcher. She will come back to the hand as an extra searcher if we play Jozu. She'll also, on attack, be able to go to a hand. And what's really useful with this is, like, say you have a brick in your hand or something that you just don't want to play, which is usually this guy, no low key for me. I'll put it to the top of my deck, and then when someone attacks with Izo, I'll draw it and then immediately bottom deck it. That way you kind of progress through and mill your deck. Then we got 2 Vistas. Don't want to run a lot of Vistas because there's so many things that rest and KO low counter, low cost blockers. It's almost not worth it. Then we have Whitey Bay. She's extremely good. She can definitely win you some games when your opponent is doing lethal math and they think that they can take a 10k swing at 0 life and they have enough for a 16k counter, which sometimes happens with Vivi. You can play the Whitey Bay, give your leader +2 attack if you have 2 Whitebeard cards in hand, and then swing 9 + 7, which is 16, which is 1 more than you would have had. And for every 1 Don you spend of her, you get 2 attack, which is actually pretty good. And again, we can recycle this with Jozu. Jozu and Atmos are indispensable in this deck. Arguably, you can get away with 3 Atmos because you kind of don't have that many 4-cost targets, unless you're playing RG Luffy, where getting rid of his annoying Usopp off the field, that might be worth it, and it does cost 4 Don, but even then, the argument would be that you would rather play an extra Edward Newgate that taxes everyone than you would play this. Then we have a pretty good 2k counter here. God forbid if you're in Brick City and you don't have much targets for Ace and Ace over here, you can always pitch this to top deck, play this on your 5 Don turn to get out 2 6k bodies. Then on the next turn, hopefully you have Jozu, swing 6k with King Do, return him to hand. That way you don't have to lose him, and then, you know, all is fair from there. And then this is just a vanilla 2k, and then this guy is a sleeper. This guy low-key can be very good. I only run 2 because he is a brick. In Ace, you can run 4, and in my opinion, it's worth it to run 4. But what his whole kind of thing that really makes him really good, it's very contextual, is that, okay, first of all, you need to be 3 life for him to get rush, which in Ace is not a big deal. For you, it is. And then the second thing that he does is that he can return a 5-cost card to the owner's hand, and then the owner plays out a 4-cost card. Now, this is very mixed because if you're going against RG Luffy, you kind of defeat the whole purpose. If you return a, for example, a Sanji to hand, they play Nami, they rest this and another card, kind of defeats the purpose. But if your opponent is someone like Mihawk that runs nothing but 5 costs, this is actually pretty good. This is actually pretty great because you remove someone and you get rush and you give a Dawn to your leader, but it's very situational and it's not as good as Jozu in my opinion. So a lot of times I will forego this. And then here's the cream de la creme right here, right? And in my opinion, if I had to pick favorites, I would pick the OP8 as the favorite. OP13 Newgate is very good. Everybody knows what he does. He draws 2 cards, trash 1. He gives 2 rested to yourself, 2 rested to one of your cards. But in my opinion, he has not won me as many games as this guy has. This guy is literally something that blocks down the board and makes it where your opponent will only swing one time, if that. So what it is that if your leader is Whitebeard Pirates, which it is, and you have 2 or less life cards, that's the important part, you have to have 2 or less. But because we run I Am Whitebeard, and because this effect resolves before this effect, if you're 3 life, you can pop a life, get 7k leader, and this on play, which is that all the characters on the board, doesn't matter what the character is, must discard 2 cards, trash 2 cards, before they can attack. So if your opponent has, unless your opponent's VV and just knows they can go for lethal, it's very unlikely that they're ever going to attack. They're basically going to see this as an absolute loss. You kind of need 1 life and a blocker, or 1 life, or just something. If you're no life and you just play this guy, obviously they're going to do the math and swing 15k. You could probably stop that. But the thing that makes him so powerful is that as you go along and as you build your board, you have an Atmos, you have King Do, you have all these 6ks and a 7k. And you want to go for board usually, because going for life means that they might take it and they'll get more cards in hand. But if you go for board and they start throwing out cards or protecting their board, all of a sudden they have like 1 or 2 cards in hand and you drop this and it's over. They can't do anything. This is lethal against, I'd say in this meta, the person who suffers the most from this is Gecko Moria, because Gecko Moria almost always has a board of like 5 or 6 people, and those 5 or 6 people all do 6ks, 7ks, and he wants to swing with them, but his hand will often be 2 or less, and in that case, he literally cannot attack more than once. This guy is very good, but all he's going to do is basically stop a big block. If the board is wide, this is better. If the board is tall, this is still sometimes better if they don't have cards, but obviously this can defend. And then the thing that's really good for this deck is that you have a 1-for-4 for characters. That's really powerful. There's a lot of 2Ks. There's 1, 2, 3. So there are 12 2Ks, and then there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There is 19 1Ks. So there is a lot of counter power in this deck, and then obviously you have 1 for 3 for leader, and then 1 for 4 for board. And then, like I said, you can have Gravity Blade, but in my opinion, I think Phoenix Brand is better. But enough yapping, let's actually go to a pretty good example match, and that example match would be Crocodile, because Crocodile is actually pretty damn annoying for the reason that what I just said is that you usually want to go for board, but his board is pretty annoying. His board is actually pretty good, and as you can see here, every turn you can cycle a card, take something that's a brick in your hand you're not going to play, put it at the top of your deck, and you potentially can draw something that's useful like a searcher. And in that case, you can potentially use a searcher, search over something you don't want, and then get something you do want. So Crocodile is very annoying, especially in this meta. He has the new Luffy that makes him a 7k leader when there's 20k or 20 or more trash. He is annoying in general because he always has his 8-cost Crocodile that comes out and locks down your board. He also has a very annoying and very protective good tech card, which I don't remember her name, but she's a 5 for 6, I think. And what she does is she gives +2 cost to everyone on the board, which actually is amazing because that will then make majority of the board impossible to get stunned by Perona for Gecko Moria, impossible to get bounced back to hand for Jozu, and sometimes impossible to bounce back to hand for Atmos, which is pretty crazy. So as you can see here, we're on a 3-dawn turn. We don't really have anything, so I figure I might as well just do a, I think, 8 swing. And the reason why I'm doing an 8 swing is because Crocodile gets very defensive later on, and he's very annoying. Like I'm scared. But he will get very annoying where he will repeatedly have like 2 or 3 Dawn up. He'll have Ground Death. Ground Death only works when there's 10 or more in the trash. But he'll be very defensive and very annoying, where like 9k swings becomes 5k swings for this guy. So you do want to attack life every once in a while. Like I said, you don't want to go crazy with it. And as you can see here, we have a pretty good candidate for, because he has a 5 cost on the field, I'm not going to play the Atmos. Instead, I'm going to play the Marco. And we'll go ahead and play Ace and Marco for free, which is a very good combo. If there was a 4 cost, there definitely was a chance I would have played Atmos. But coming up, it's very likely that I'll either A, play the Ace for Rush and return the 5 cost to hand, or B, what I'll do is I will play Jozu to bounce the 2k back to hand and then bounce that blocker to hand. So we've got options. We've got options. And as you can see here, we have 2 5ks come out, which is beyond annoying because, again, he's got 2 5k, 2 5 cost blockers. And we usually want to just take life here. There's no, like, we don't need to be defensive, really, because eventually we're going to have Newgate as a blocker. Eventually we're going to have that other Newgate to stop attacks. And in general, we got a lot of 2Ks in this deck. There's no reason to rush. So what I want to do here is I want to see if he'll block with 1, because if he blocks with 1, we can remove the other. And after we remove the other, we can just swing for free, either with Jozu or with Ace. Now, this is where I think he made a mistake, because that card he just pitched is that annoying card, really annoying card, that basically makes it so that you cannot bounce anything on the board. And when you see this deck, it's a safe odd to say that there will be a Jozu in the deck, because Jozu is good in every blue deck, and this is Ace Newgate. And at this point, I'm confused, because I'm like, damn, bro is just giving me his whole hand. So I figure, all right, I'll go for a 7 swing. And I'm assuming blocking 2k. That's what I'm thinking, not what I'm knowing. And after this, I more than likely will play the Jozu, because at that point, I'm only playing Jozu not only to eliminate an attacker, it's not going to attack with a blocker, but also to screw up his Dawn progression, because I don't know what he did. I think he did Bond Clay to bring out that blocker for free. But now if he wants to play that blocker again, it's going to be 5 Dawn, which is annoying. Right now he has 8 Dawn. If he wants, he can play Crocodile, but the only thing Crocodile is going to stop is Jozu and I guess Ace. Is it worth it to get rid of those 2 attackers? Maybe. He's 3 life. But in all likelihood, he probably plays Miss Sunday here. That's what I always see, but I mean, we'll see what happens. But as you can see, again, I think I will just take this because I legit don't care. Like, hit me as much as you want. So at this point, our hand is fat. We've got 3 counters. We've got 1 Whitebeard. We've got 1 2k and 1 1k. And it's at this point in time where I'm thinking next turn, should I A, put the Newgate to, you know, basically buff up the Marcos and attack with Marcos, or should I, or Ace rather, or should I just play the Ace and get rid of the blocker and then just go to face? Those are both 2 good pretty options. We can also go for like the non-brain dead, super simple. We have 2 life. We can drop the Newgate, and if he were to attack, he'd have to discard 2 cards. But in my opinion, it's better right now to play either A, Ace for Rush, remove that 5 cost blocker and hope they don't have a 4 cost blocker, or B, go ahead and play the 10 cost Newgate and see what happens there. But I decided to play the Ace because I'm guessing he doesn't have a 4 cost in hand, because I find it suspicious that he didn't play the 4 cost at any point in time, because the Crocodile always wants to play that 4 cost, because that 4 cost on death will bring an 8 cost to hand. So I gamble basically and say, okay, you probably don't have that 4 cost or a 4 cost, so I'm going to get rid of it. Either way, we're getting rid of a 5 cost, and what's coming out is a 4 cost. So the worst case scenario is that you replace a blocker with a weaker blocker, so it's not the end of the world. So I'm going to go ahead and do a 6. At this point, remember, I have 2 4k counters, 1 3k counter for leader. I also have a Vista. I probably will put the Vista down, to be honest. I think that would be the best play here, is to swing 6 7 7. and then put down a Vista, and then keep in hand 2 4K counters for board. I'd say board is more important than life when you play Ace Newgate, because you will find that you get to like the worst case to be is like 4 or 5 life, and then all you have is just that tax beard in hand, and it's like, okay, I can't stop attacks because I have too much life. If I put a blocker down, okay, what does that do for me? So you want to take life. Like, you want to have a lot of cards in hand. This is not red blue ace where you take a hit and lose a hit. And also look at all the cards he just gave up. He gave up a good amount of cards. So when we do, and then I'll probably put the 10 beard there, and that's one thing, I think your opponent can see that. So whenever you reveal that, now in his head he's like, uh-oh, we've got the blocker beard coming out. So he's probably thinking to himself, okay, I shouldn't play Crocodile because next turn we're going to get blocker beard, so I should save that on play, potentially. At least that's what I would be thinking. And now he's going to do 7 to life, which I might take, or I might block with Marco. I would take that because who cares, honestly? I have Vista, I have Marco as this blocker. The worst thing he could do to me is... he can't end this turn because Crocodile doesn't really run blockers. So it's at this point, I think I'm going to pitch the 1 for 3 because it's a brick in hand, honestly, and you might as well just get rid of it. I have Marco as blocker. I have Vista's blocker. If he were to do a ground death, it would require 3 Dawn. I don't think he wants to do that because he can't go for game. I personally would do that in my opinion because he would just take control of the board more, and he kind of needs to because he has one guy. But Crocodile is very annoying, and no matter what, he is going to be able to mount an offensive because he is going to be able to lock down 2 characters if he has 2 Crocodiles, and then from there just swing 10s. But I think with Marco, I think 3 Marco, I run 3 Marco, I think that's more than enough. And I think if you see now, I think he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He has 6 in hand. All right, now he's going to play the annoying Luffy. And I'm thinking at this point, okay, what should I do? I have to progress the game because if I play Marco, I feel like it is not worth it. So I go ahead, I put that card back, whatever it was that I put back. I get a 2K, so we're pretty healthy in hand. We're very healthy in hand. And I think the best thing to do here, because he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards in hand, which is not that much for Crocodile, is play the Tax Beard with I Am Whitebeard, take the life, so we're at 7K, so we can swing the leader. Swing with Jozu as well, so that we're doing 2 attacks. As a matter of fact, I would swing with Jozu. I would swing with Ace, give him a Dawn. And then I would play Tax Beard, and they would be like, damn, I just got because 5 cards in hand, you go down to 3 cards in hand. 3 cards in hand, you draw a card, that means 4 cards. That means if you were to attack with all characters on the field, it would be the case where you need to discard all of your cards in order to do all the attacks. And with the counters we have in hand and the 2Ks we have in hand, I'm very confident to say I don't care. So at this point, we could play it safe. We could play the Newgate, and we could play, play with 2 counters. But I decided to do the 7, like I said, knowing that he probably will just go ahead and give up a card. And now this is where it gets interesting, because now he's going to see what I was hiding this whole time, which is Tax Beard. And Tax Beard is a monster. We're going to go ahead and take Bottom Life, another counter. That's all the counters in the deck. So now we're 7K. We're going to swing 7K. If he's smart, he'd take it and try to go for game next turn because we have a blocker and 1 life. But even then, we have so much counter in hand. Genuinely, it low-key doesn't matter. Because think about it. We have a 1 for 4. We're 7K leader. That means you need to swing for 10 minimum. We have a 2, a 1, a 2, a 1, 1. So we have 1, 2, 4, 6, 7K counter in hand, not counting the 1 for 4, right? So that's very hard to overcome, especially we got a chump blocker. And if he were to do the ground death, I don't think he'd be able to end game because the most he could do is swing 10. I would stop it with the 1 for 4. Then he would swing potentially 9. I would stop that also. And then for leader, he would just maybe dump it all, and then I'm 1 life anyway. So that's the thing. When you get to this point in the game where you are in a situation where, so he didn't even swing, right? I don't think he even swung with leader, which is crazy because he should have. So now we're in a situation where we actually have too much on board. Like literally, we want to play the 10 cost Newgate just to do it. So we're probably going to kill Vista. It's tempting to get rid of the 7 cost, or the 6 cost rather. It's tempting to get rid of the 6 cost because you're thinking to yourself like, okay, I can't attack with him, so what's the point? And as you can see here, because my board is so set up and I have so much going on, I'm like, you know what? I'll just swing. Like I have so many counters anyway, and I am going to outlast him more than likely. And that if I keep up 3 Don, which I have 3 Don up, he's not going to do anything. And at this point, it's like GG's, bro. Like, I'm going to swing for 7, I think. I'm going to keep up 3 Don, which is 3 4K counters. I'll put the Marcos to top of deck so that we know we have a brick out of hand, and we definitely will get the 1 for 4. And then at that point, it's GG's, bro. Like, yeah, you're not getting over this, all right? Ground Death doesn't matter. He doesn't have Rush. So he's got 2 10Ks and 1 9K, and then he has 5 with leader, right? So for the 2 10Ks, I think if I'm smart, no matter what, I will block with a Vista, because when he attacks, so he has 3 attacks, right? You got to go for game at this point. He has no life, 3 attacks. He has the potential to use ground death, right? Or actually, no, he does something that's sort of smart. I say sort of smart because it's kind of whatever. So he plays the Daz Bones, right? And after playing Daz Bones, he rests my blocker. Okay, fair enough. But it's not as good as if he had just spent the 4 Don on his guys to overcome the blocker, in my opinion. So if it was Ground Death, I think Ground Death is 3 Don. That's okay. But 4 Don is quite a lot. So as you can see here, so now he's going to swing 5. It literally doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I have plenty of counter in hand. I think I might take this. Or actually, no, I don't take it. I give the 9, and then I give the 2, which makes me 11. Okay. And then I think he swings 2 11s. Might as well take it, honestly. Yeah, 11, swing. Might as well take it, because he's just going to swing another 11, so who cares? We can definitely finish it next game. He's got nothing, really, on his board. So we're going to take the 11, because why not? Literally doesn't matter. Got a 2K. So now we have how much in hand? We have 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. We have 11K. We could stop a 15K swing. So we'll do 9, pitch a 2, give a 1. I think I give up the searcher, and there you go. It's GG's. Like, there's nothing this guy can do. He either forgot or did not, or actually, never mind. He already used his ability to kill a character, which was not Crocodile. Which when they kill someone who's not Crocodile, that means they're going for game. Like, it's over. They are going to just go for game, because otherwise he would have killed the Crocodile, and he would have just kind of froze the Newgate. After freezing the Newgate, he would have went and frozen the 7 cost Jozu maybe. But because he was at a situation where he had no cards in hand, he felt like he didn't have any options. He was just like, all right, whatever, I'll go for game. I guess in all reality, and this is actually a true statement to a degree, is that he swung 9, 11, 11, which is okay. But now that I think about it, how did he even get to that point of having so little Don? He attacked with his leader. Okay. So I think one big mistake he made is that he looked at his leader as a 7K leader, and he's like, oh, let me give him 4 Don. Not worth it. He should have given that 4 Don, should have been distributed against the 2 Crocodiles. so that for the one Crocodile should have swung, I think, once he rested the blocker, one Crocodile probably should have done, well, actually, he could have just done 7 leader, 9 with Luffy, and then for Crocodile, he probably should have done, I think he would have had 6 Dawn left over. So give this Crocodile, just swing 2 13s maybe. Would he have won if he did that? 7, I'd give you 2 and 1 blocked. 9, I'd give you the 1 counter event, so that would be stopped. Let's say he swung like, let's just say he made it equal 13 13. I'll just take the 13, right? And then if he were to swing 13 again, I would have the other counter, and then I would have had plenty, you know, I would have had enough. I would have 2 2 1 1, which is 4. 4 plus 9 is 13, and then the other ones I wouldn't have used because I didn't take a hit. So he was in a tough spot. I had enough counter. That's what it boiled down to, is I had enough counter. I had a board. This is pretty common. This is like a good state to be in with this deck. It's not perfect. It doesn't always work out. It's obviously you can brick. Obviously you can get things that aren't useful. And genuinely, this deck is unusable against Emu because the thing that makes it very good is that you bounce things to board. You do a lot of removal. The, you know, Gravity Blade, if you do get it, ends up being a good piece to remove 2 bodies. But you can always edit it around. And, you know, for example, this Ace is okay against Emu because he's a 6 cost that can't get popped. This Jozu is kind of okay-ish against Emu. You can remove your own bodies, like to a Searcher and a 2K. It's going to be an uphill battle if you do it against Emu. I haven't even really bothered playing against Emu because I hate playing against Emu. It's like the most boring matchup ever. And then for this Newgate, the 2-cost Newgate, that's pretty much like, he's the guy, bro. Like, once he hits the board, your opponent basically needs to start thinking, should I swing or should I not? More times than not, it is when I play him, I am playing him with the intention of like, they're not going to be able to do anything. But I have seen people use this guy as a scare tactic where they'll play this guy and say like, okay, if you want to swing, you're going to have to do it with, you know, 2 cards per swing. But what kind of ruins him is if they play Rush, because if they play a Rush character, it has no effect. And then at the same time, if they have enough cards in hand, swinging is actually beneficial because unless you play Iron Whitebeard, you're not going to have any Dawn up. So in my case, I did have Dawn up. But playing him with 10 cost and a blocker in life is very good. But then you have to rely on your hand counters, which in this case I did end up having. But it's not a perfect solution, and whenever you play a 10 cost, it's risky. So in general, I'd say this deck revolves around the Jozu, Atmos, and then obviously for the leader ability and for kind of the whole point of playing this deck, low-key, is this 5-cost Ace from OP8, which brings out a 4-cost body on 5 Dawn. Extremely fun, very fun deck. I think you can adapt it, and I have adapted it a bit for Ace, Red-Blue Ace, where majority are just blue bodies. For me, when I use Red-Blue Ace, other than Flame Emperor, which is getting rotated out, there's not many red cards I really care about. I feel like the red cards, like Dragon is pretty good, but in my opinion, this 6-cost Ace is better because he's searchable, and he's only a 1 Dawn difference. Dragon, for 8 Dawn, he's going to give 2 Dawn to your leader, and he's a 9k body. This guy, for 6 Dawn, is going to give 1 Dawn to your leader and is a 7k body. So in general, you're spending 6 Dawn and you're getting 8 Dawns worth of utility. And with Dragon, you're spending 8 Dawn and you're getting 11 Dawn worth of utility. So it is a difference, right? It is pretty substantial because you're spending 8, you're getting 11, so you're getting +3. With this one, you're spending 6, you're getting 8, which is +2, right? So +3 Dawn versus +2 Dawn. But in my opinion, this Ace is better because he does have the potential chance of removing a 5-cost body from field, which is decent. Some decks, especially Roger, if he plays that 5-cost blocker, there's damn near nothing that's good coming out. So you're gonna break through that defense. Same thing with Daz Bones here. So it actually is not that bad, especially in this meta, because there's a lot of decks that use 5 costs and not many 4 or 3 useful costs. With the exception of like RG Luffy, with the exception of potentially Gecko Moria. But even then, like, no matter what, like, you're changing the board, you're changing the things that are on there. It can sometimes work out. It can also blow up in your face. Like, technically, you could do this and they play Pudding, or they do this and they play the Nami that Rusts to. But in general, in my opinion, Ace Newgate is a very good deck. It's not a amazing deck, but it's certainly better now. I think once Pudding's ban is in effect, it'll be extremely better, because, like, just go ahead and look at my hand. If I have 11 cards in hand, what do you think someone's going to do if they have Pudding? They're obviously going to play it. So once Pudding gets hard banned in a week, I think this deck will be a lot safer to run. I think it's very fun and I enjoy it. And I think I'll try to keep in mind a couple of other kind of meta or meta-ish decks that I go up against, and kind of keep it in mind. And of course, this is just a simulator. There's random people. This guy played Crocodile pretty well, honestly. Only thing I would have done differently is I would have played the girl that gave everyone +2 cost. The only difference would have been that. But he kind of couldn't do much of anything, because for Crocodile, he actually does a lot better against a board that's tall than a board that's wide. And as you can see here, you kind of have the best of both worlds, because we accelerated the board with the 5 Don play of getting Marco and Ace on the field. Then we went ahead and played Jozu, which removed the blocker and brought a Searcher back. And then on our 7 Don turn, if I remember correctly, we removed the blocker, swung 6-7-7, which is actually pretty good, played a blocker to protect board, and at that point, he had nothing on the board and had to recoup and rebuild from Crocodile. So from 8 Don, he had to rebuild, which is pretty bad. That's pretty bad, actually. But enough ego stroking. This was a good match. We ended up coming up on top. But there's faith for Ace Newgate. In my opinion, the only thing that I would love to see in Ace Newgate is what would I like to see in Ace Newgate? I would like to see maybe a better 7 cost, because there's not really any 7 cost, but it's not the end of the world, because you do have the 6 cost option and the other 6 cost option. But it definitely would be nice to see some type of 7 cost option. It ain't the Jozu that came with the starter deck. That Jozu, in my opinion, is very bad. For 7 Don, you draw 2 cards to trash one. That ain't good. I think this Ace would be amazing if he just had a vanilla remove 5 costs from the field. He'd literally be run on every blue deck, low-key. But that's the end of that. We had fun with Ace Newgate, and we'll look forward to more matches in the future.